Imagine waking up and realizing your country is suddenly the absolute hottest real estate on the planet. And we're not talking about tourism here, we're talking about the biggest tech titans in the world setting up shop. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving right into a literal once-in-a-lifetime economic transformation, Australia's digital gold rush. Let's get right into it.
So every major tech company right now is in this absolutely desperate race to build out the infrastructure that powers AI. You know the drill. They need massive, land-intensive data centers that just devour energy. But here's the catch. The US, where most of this lives right now, is practically running out of cheap power and available land. The grids are strained and regulations are getting tighter. So these companies are looking around the globe, asking themselves one huge question. Where else can we actually build?
And almost simultaneously, they all landed on the exact same answer: Australia. What we're seeing unfold down under, it's not just your standard corporate tech investment. No, this is a massive generational shift in where the world's actual computing power is going to live.
Okay, Section 1. The perfect claim, why Australia? Let's dive into this.
Seriously, why did the smartest companies on Earth all zero in on this specific country? Well, when resources dry up in one place, your new location needs a practically flawless mix of assets to justify moving billions of dollars. In Australia, it kind of hits the jackpot. First up, you've got massive public commitments to clean energy. We're talking endless solar and wind. Second, political stability and property laws that actually welcome foreign investment. Third, it's its strategic geography, making it the perfect gateway to billions of users across Southeast Asia, Japan, and Korea. And lastly, a world-class tech workforce pumping out of top-tier universities. You put all that together, and yeah, you've got the ultimate destination.
Moving to Section 2, the Titans arrive, a billion-dollar boom.
Now you have to remember, these investments, they're not just PR stunts. These are hard-nosed, profit-driven bets. In June of 2025, Amazon Web Services came out with a staggering 20 billion Australian dollar commitment to expand its infrastructure. That was literally the largest single tech investment in Australia's history. The AWS CEO even announced it directly alongside Australia's Prime Minister.
But the rush didn't stop there. Fast forward to December, and OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT, they throw their hat into the ring with a massive $7 billion investment. Their goal here is to build a sovereign AI hyperscale campus. Basically, they're creating a localized giant brain designed specifically to build advanced AI right there on Australian soil.
And then we get the biggest move yet. Microsoft announces an astonishing 25 billion Australian dollar investment. CEO Satya Nadella actually flew to Sydney personally to secure this deal. And he had a very specific, ambitious goal in mind. He wants Australia to become a critical hub that actively creates AI, not just a place that consumes it.
All right, Section 3, the yield, economic and social impact.
So what does this all mean for everyday citizens? Why does this matter to you? Well, by 2030, analysts are projecting AI could add up to 142 billion Australian dollars to the country's GDP annually. That is a seven-fold increase from what AI contributes today. Let's break that down real quick. You've got 112 billion coming from businesses just broadly adopting AI to work faster, which could lift average wages by about 7%. Then, another 18 billion comes from Australia building and exporting its own domestic AI products. And the final 11 billion? That's from stepping up as a regional AI exporter to the rest of Asia.
Now, what's really interesting about this next point is the social dimension. Beyond the raw billions, we have this number, 35%. That's the incredibly high projected wage growth expected for one very specific demographic. Analysts actually found that women in Australia are expected to see 35% higher wage growth than men because of this AI adoption. You might be wondering, why is that? It's because women are heavily overrepresented in sectors like care, education, and healthcare. And those are the exact sectors where AI is projected to deliver the absolute strongest productivity gains. So this boom could meaningfully help close the gender pay gap by really elevating those hardworking yet historically underappreciated parts of the workforce. It's a huge deal.
Next up, Section 4, the physical transformation.
Of course, beyond the economic models, when you drop tens of billions of dollars into a country, it physically alters the landscape. Right now, Australia hosts 282 data centers, but the deployable capacity is expected to more than double. We're talking a jump from roughly 1,350 megawatts today to over 3,100 megawatts by 2030. To pull off that level of massive expansion, it's going to require a staggering 26 billion Australian dollars just in raw construction and infrastructure investment.
And because of this, major domestic property developers are completely restructuring their entire business models just to catch this wave. Take the Goodman Group, for instance. They've shifted 68% of their entire pipeline directly into building data centers. Infrastructure spending, or CapEx, in the tech and telecom sector has shot up 27% to a record $122.9 billion. Companies are actively building these massive server hubs right now, like that highly specialized GPU supercluster NextDC is building for OpenAI in Sydney.
Which brings us to Section 5, Cave-ins and Governance, Navigating the Risks. Look, any gold rush can lead to cave-ins if you aren't careful, right? But the Australian government isn't just sitting back watching this happen. They're actively, strategically engineering this boom. This brilliantly illustrates how they're protecting their interests. They've launched a $460 million national AI plan. They've committed $1 billion for critical tech through the National Reconstruction Fund, and they're offering $950 million in R&D tax incentives. They want a truly competitive, resilient local ecosystem, not just a plot of land for a bunch of foreign servers.
And on top of the funding, they are demanding smart governance. When the CEO of Anthropic met with the Prime Minister and when Microsoft signed their agreements, it definitely wasn't a blank check. The government is mandating that these developers actively drive the clean energy transition, use water sustainably, and invest heavily in local jobs. They're negotiating real, tangible benefits so these foreign companies don't just extract value and take off.
That being said, the infrastructural risks here are still pretty severe. Data centers already consume about 2% of the total grid-supplied power in Australia, and by 2030, the energy market operator projects that demand is going to triple. So that poses a massive, massive question. Can Australia's clean energy build-out actually keep pace with this extreme AI-driven demand without totally buckling the power grid?
And then there's the human bottleneck, the talent shortage. Australia simply doesn't have enough AI engineers, data scientists, or technical specialists right now to run all of this. While foreign capital is definitely stepping in to help, like Microsoft pledging to train 3 million Australians by 2028, closing this gap is going to require a massive overhaul of the entire education system, literally from primary school all the way up to postgrad research, just to keep this engine running. You know, the relationship between Australia and gold goes way back to the 1850s, a rush that practically transformed it into the prosperous nation it is today. And right now, history is repeating itself. Only this time the gold is digital, and the miners are the biggest tech corporations on Earth. So I'll leave you with this to ponder. With these world-class fundamentals, billions upon billions in foreign investment, and some really smart governance, will this digital gold rush define the next global era? Will it make Australia the world's next AI superpower? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.